Hi, my name is Jocelyn Neal, and this is the 7th session in our Melodic Dictation workshops. I'm glad you're here. If you haven't done sessions 1 through 6, I recommend you jump over and do those first, and then come back and join us. As always, you will need to be somewhere that you can sing out loud, and you will need some staff paper and a pencil with you. And hey, if you haven't clicked that subscribe button yet, please do so. Today, our big topic is going to be fluency in compound meter. We are also going to talk a little bit about notation. We're going to also focus on some tricky leaps. And as a special bonus, there will be 2 complete melodic dictation exercises, one of them in simple triple meter. So let's warm up. Here's our key. Solfege, a major scale, double do on top. 3, 4. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, so, fa, mi, re, do. Intervals. Major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh, perfect octave. Minor second, minor third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, minor sixth, minor seventh, perfect octave. Major second, minor third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major second, major third, perfect fourth. Let's sing our scale in thirds. Here's tonic. 3, 4. Do, mi, re, fa, mi, so, fa, la, so, ti, la, do, ti, re, do. Do, la, ti, so, la, fa, so, mi, fa, re, mi, do, re, ti, do. And let's sing our descending triads. Here's tonic. 1, 2, 3. Do, so, mi, do, re, la, fa, re, mi, ti, so, mi, fa, do, la, fa, so, re, ti, so, la, mi, do, la, ti, fa, re, ti, do. And let's sing our tonicization pattern. Here's tonic. 3, 4. Do, mi, so, fa, mi, la, so, ti, do, re, do, ti, do, so, mi, do. Today, we are also going to sing a second tonicization pattern, and this one is going to help us with the idea of pitch retention over time, or long-range pitch retention. Let's switch keys. Here's our new key. And let's sing this pattern. Do, mi, fa, sol, la, fa, mi, re, so, mi, re, do, ti, la, fa, re, la, ti, so, mi, re, do. Now let's talk for a moment about that idea of long-range pitch retention. The concept is that when we reach a high note, we want to keep that pitch in our head because even if there are intervening scales and leaps, we might get back to that same high register and we can connect the next note to the one we're remembering. In this case, you could be remembering that note la. Do, mi, fa, sol, la. And we're going to keep la in our heads, even though the melody goes on, so that la can connect to the next so. And that so can connect to the next fa. And that fa can connect to mi, re, do. So the effect in my mind is the following. Do, mi, fa, sol, la, so, fa, mi, re, do. That will help me find those pitches, that will help me transcribe them, and that will help me tune them. I can do the same thing with notes in the lower register. Once I came down my first scale, do, mi, fa, sol, la, fa, mi, re, I can remember that re, and that's going to help me with do, ti, la. I'm going to remember that low la, 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 ti, so. That's the idea of long-range pitch retention. Now let's work on our leaps. This is an exercise that's going to help us focus on tricky leaps, especially leaps that are not part of a tonic arpeggiation. We'll change keys. Here's our new key. And let's read this one. Do, fa, mi, re, la, so, fa, re, ti, do, mi, so, do, fa, la, so, re, mi, fa, la, ti, do. The leaps that we're focusing on here are the do, fa, re, la, fa, re, do down to mi, do, fa, so, re, fa, la, ti, do. Now let's run our all interval combinations. We'll stay in this key. 3, 4. Do, re, do, mi, do, fa, do, so, do, la, do, ti, do, do. Re, mi, re, fa, re, so, re, la, re, ti, re, do, mi, fa, mi, so, mi, la, mi, ti, mi, do, mi, re, do. Fa, so, fa, la, fa, ti, fa, do, fa, mi, fa, re, do. So, la, so, ti, so, do, so, fa, so, mi, so, re, do. La, ti, la, do, la, so, la, fa, la, mi, la, re, do. Ti, do, ti, la, ti, so, ti, fa, ti, mi, ti, re, do. Do, ti, do, la, do, so, do, fa, do, mi, do, re, do. And let's do our opening and closing melodic patterns. I will sing them on a neutral syllable. You solfege them back, and then we'll sing them together to confirm. Here's our key. Here we go. Do, 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 do. Do, ti, do, fa, re, do, 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 do. Do, re, ti, la, so, do, 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 do. Do, so, re, fa, ti, do, 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 do. Do, re, mi, so, re, do, 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 do. Do, mi, fa, la, ti, do. Now, here are the most common rhythmic patterns we're going to see in compound duple meter. Let's read through these. You can read them on a neutral syllable or on rhythmic syllables. Let's begin. Ta, 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 ki, da, ta, ki, da, ta, da, ta, da, ta, da, ma, ta, da, ma, ta, ki, da, ma, ta, ki, da, ma, ta, ki, di, da, ma, ta, ki, di, da, ma, ta, ki, di, da, ta, ki, di, da, tava, ki, da, tava, ki, da, tava, ki, da, ma, tava, ki, da, ma, tava, ki, di, da, tava, ki, di, da, ta, di, da, ta, di, da, ta, ki, ma, ta, ki, ma, ta, di, da, ma, ta, di, da, ma, tava, ki, di, da, ma, tava, ki, di, da, ma, tava, da, tava, di, da, ta. We want to make sure that we're maintaining flexibility in thinking about our rhythmic patterns. Most of these measures used the same pattern for the first beat and the second beat. So as an exercise, we're going to read this again, but only read the first half of each bar. Ta, ta, ki, da, ta, da, ta, da, ma, ta, ki, da, ma, ta, ki, di, da, ma, ta, ki, di, da, tava, ki, da, tava, ki, da, ma, tava, ki, di, da, ta, di, da, ta, ki, ma, ta, di, da, ma, tava, ki, di, da, ma, tava, da, ta. Now grab some staff paper and we are going to do 1-bar transcriptions. Set yourself up in bass clef, A major, 6/8, and we're going to do 8 of these. In each case, the first note will be tonic, but the last note may not be tonic, and you're listening for both rhythm and pitch. Here's our key. And here we go, number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. Number 6. Number 7. Number 8. Okay, here are the answers. And if you were using shorthand notation, you might also have some extra notation above the staff where you could be writing down scale degrees, such as you see here, or shorthand letters that represent solfege syllables. Now let's talk about notation for just a minute. When you are taking the AP Music Theory exam or doing melodic dictation in general, stem direction doesn't matter. So if you have pitches on a staff, you are welcome to stem those down if you want to show the notes that are in the higher placements on the staff, or you can stem them up to indicate they are the primary melody that you're writing down, as if you were transcribing both a melody line and a harmony line on the same staff. Either is okay. When you are writing an accidental on the staff, the placement does matter. So if you are working in, let's say, the key of C minor, and you need to raise scale degree 6, you have to put that natural sign such that the little box part of the natural is on the correct space, and the accidental must go before the note head. If you had written the accidental after the note head, or up high or down low, those would all have been wrong. So once again, that accidental placement does matter. Those would be an A natural and a B natural. Coming back down, if you want to lower them, again, the curved part of the flat has to be on the correct line or space for the note head. And those accidentals must be in front of, not after, the note head. Our third notational comment today is that enharmonic equivalents are not allowed when you're doing melodic dictation on something like the AP Music Theory exam. If you are in the key of C minor and you are spelling a C minor scale, you cannot substitute, say, a D sharp for scale degree 3, which should be spelled as an E flat. That is incorrect. You must use the correct spelling of the scale degree in context. Where we see that causing trouble for a lot of students is, let's say you're in the key of C minor and you hear scale degree 5 and there's an upper neighbor to that scale degree 5. It is incorrect to write it as a raised scale degree 5. That is going to get you marked wrong. We have to recognize the scale degree function, and so an upper neighbor to scale degree 5 has got to be spelled as that lowered scale degree 6. That would be marked correct. So just to summarize there, enharmonic equivalents are not allowed on the AP Music Theory exam for dictation. Now we are ready to do our first melodic dictation, so grab some staff paper and let's get set up. Today we are going to be working in bass clef. We're going to have a key signature of 3 sharps. We're going to be in 6/8. We're going to have 4 measures of music, and again, all of this will be printed for you when you take the AP Music Theory exam, but we're setting up our staff paper together. And the first pitch is a note head on the pitch A3. Now, before that first hearing, we're going to do a little bit more preparation. Look at that first pitch, look at that key signature, and write on your paper that we are going to be in A major. I want that as a visual reference while I'm working. I'm also going to look over in measure 4, and I'm going to put my best guess in as to what the last pitch will be. So I'm going to write a dotted quarter note halfway through measure 4 on the pitch A3. I don't know if that's correct. It's possible that it could instead be an A2, but we're going to confirm that on the first hearing. This melody will be played on bassoon, and here's our first hearing. Okay, so on that first hearing, we confirmed that the final note was pitch A3. We heard the opening pattern. Do, so, re, in even eighth notes. So let's go ahead and write that in. We have do, so, re, scale degrees 1, 5, 2 as our opening 3 notes. And our closing pattern was fa, ti, do. So we're going to write in the fa, ti, do pitches as well. That's scale degrees 4 and 7, leading to tonic. Here was our opening, and here was our closing. And now we're ready for our second hearing. Okay, so we have our opening pattern. Do, so, re, and we heard that move up by step to mi. So our opening is do, so, re, mi. And in the middle of measure 2, I heard some kind of a descent to an anchor pitch on scale degree 5. So that's going to help me stay oriented in my melody. At the beginning of measure 3, I heard a tonic arpeggiation, 3-5-1, mi, so, do. And that was in uneven rhythms. And then at the very ending, I have my fa, ti, do ending. With those extra hints in place, let's do our third hearing. Let's talk through what we heard. We heard an opening set of leaps, followed by a descending scale. So we're going to write in that from the mi comes down, re, do, ti. And the re, do, ti descent was in quick 16th notes. So we had a dotted rhythm there. And then we have scale degree 6, back up to tonic, and then a scale down to 5. La, do, ti, la, so. Let's put some rhythms on that. The ti, la were quick, so those were our 16th notes at the end. From so we step down through fa, and we arpeggiate tonic, mi, so, do. From here, we can use our long range hearing to connect that low mi to the next low note we hear, which is scale degree 4 or fa. And then it comes up to la, ti, do, re. Continuing the scale to mi on the downbeat of measure 4. I'm going to use that long range hearing to help me get through measure 3. I'm going to start with the pickup to measure 3 on scale degree 4. So that long range hearing is really going to help there. Let's mark some of the things that we noticed. We could hear 1 skip, 2, 3 as a connection point, down a scale, a long note on scale degree 5, that's one of our anchor pitches. We heard the tonic arpeggiation of 3-5-1. We could use our long range hearing to find scale degree 4. And then we heard an ascending scale that goes all the way up to 3 and our melodic cadence pattern of 4-7-1. Let's sing it on solfege. Here's tonic. Here we Go. Do, so, re, mi, re, do, ti, la, so. Fa, mi, so, do, fa, la, ti, do, re, mi, fa, ti, do. And here's our final transcription. Listen to it one more time. Now we are going to do one additional melodic dictation exercise today. Once in a while, not very often, but once in a while on the AP Music Theory exam, we have a melodic dictation that is in simple triple meter with a time signature of 3/4. They look just a little bit different, and so I want to make sure that we have some experience working in 3/4 with our melodic dictations. So grab some staff paper and let's get ready. When we find a melodic dictation in 3/4, it's going to have 8 measures instead of 4 measures on the staff paper. So let's get set up. We'll do this one in treble clef. We'll use a key signature of 1 sharp, a time signature of 3/4. Our first note head will be on the pitch G4, and we're going to have 8 measures of music instead of 4 measures of music. Now, before that first hearing, let's add a little more information to our staff paper. Take a look at the first note, take a look at the key signature, and let's write on our paper that this is going to be in the key of G major. Jump over to the 8th bar, which is the last bar of this melodic dictation. And when we are in 3/4, the last note is most commonly on the downbeat of that last bar. So let's go ahead and write a dotted half note in measure 8. We don't know if that's the correct pitch yet, but we want to have that visual target on our page. Remember that there is no stem on the first note, so one of your tasks on that first hearing is to add an appropriate stem for the correct rhythm of that first pitch. You are going to hear a melody in 3/4. It will be played on a trumpet, and here's your first hearing. On that first hearing, we confirmed that the last note was indeed the pitch G4. The opening gesture was an arpeggiation, do, mi, so. So let's go ahead and write that in. If you are using shorthand notation, you might have written in 1, 3, 5. If you were using solfege shorthand notation, you might have written in do, mi, so. And at the end of our melody, we heard a lower neighbor figure, do, ti, do. So we're going to add 8th notes, do, ti, at the end of measure 7. With that information in place, let's do our second hearing. When we are listening to a melody in 3/4, The sound of it is a lot like each measure is a half bar of the 6/8 melodies that we're used to hearing. And so in our mind, we can be thinking about 2 measure chunks in this triple meter melody. That's going to help us get more information quicker and do this transcription efficiently. So we heard a jump down after our opening arpeggiation. Do, mi, so, re. And that's going to help us figure out our melody. Skipping ahead to measure 4, I heard an arrival on tonic. That's going to make a nice anchor pitch. That's going to help me to find my way through this melody. And if I move over to measure 6, I heard a high scale degree 5. That's a good anchor pitch, and I heard it expanding up to scale degree 6 as well. With that much in mind, let's do another hearing. Let's work through this melody. It opened with a tonic arpeggiation. Do, mi, so, re. And then we had some connected motion by step. Re, mi, re, do, ti. Re was long. Mi, re, do came down in 8th notes. Ti jumps down to an anchor note, so that's scale degree 5. And that's connected with a scale up 6, 7, 1. I want to make sure I'm hearing that ascending scale. I'm hearing that neighboring motion in measure 2 from re to mi back to re. Now from that long note in measure 4 that works as an anchor pitch on tonic, do, we're going to skip up to scale degree 3. And from there, we're going to move down to scale degree 2. I'm going to start in that G in measure 4, and we'll listen to this. Do, mi, re, mi, fa, sol, la. So I'm hearing an ascending scale from scale degrees 2 through 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a skip down at the end of measure 6. And now I have running 8th notes in measure 7. Re, fa, mi, re, do, ti. 2, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 1. Let's look at a couple of things that we want to focus on. We have our initial arpeggiation. We have neighbor motion in measure 2. We have an anchor pitch in measure 3. We have an anchor pitch on the downbeat of measure 4. We had a long scale that moved through measures 5 and 6. And then we had an 8th note pattern. Fa, mi, re, do, ti, do. And our do, ti, do ending. Now let's sing it together. Here's tonic. 1, 2, 3. Do, mi, so, re, mi, re, do, ti, so, la, ti, do. Mi, re, mi, fa, sol, la, fa, mi, re, do, ti, do. And here's your final transcription. Let's listen to it one more time. Thanks for watching.